Okay, Lama Love, we're live.
Thank you. So the dedication that I'd like to read today is actually the first full paragraph of the day 32. So let's start with the preliminary prayers. And then we'll set our motivation together. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Now the mandala offering. This ground anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mahamudra, for continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offering. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. O holy and perfect pure Lama, from the clouds of compassion that form in the skies of your Dharmakaya wisdom, please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Idam Guru Ratnamandalakam Niryatayami. Okay, so. Okay, so we are at the beginning of day 32 in the essence of vast profound. In the songs of spiritual experience, Jam Gonson Kappa the Great states, concentration is the king with dominion over the mind. If set, it will not waver like a powerful mountain. When focused, it enters into all virtuous objects and leads to the bliss of physical and mental pliancy. If we attain a stable concentration that can abide single-pointedly upon its mental object of focus, we will attain a stability of mind that can be employed for whatever virtuous object we desire. While the mind is in that state, we have stability of body and mind, which is indispensable for attaining the good qualities that come from meditation. Therefore, we should set our motivation by thinking. If I rely upon the incomparable teachings for accomplishing that, they are the extracted heart essence of the oral instructions set forth in the text of the Regent Maitreya, such as those recorded by Sangha and Maitreya as distinguishing the middle from the extremes, as presented in the stages of the path to enlightenment. Therefore, we should set our motivation by thinking, I will properly listen to these teachings and then put them into practice. During the teachings on the second Panchen Lama's swift path, the way to train in the last two perfections is presented as follows. The final two transcendent perfections has two sections. 1, training in tranquil abiding as the essence of concentration. 2, training in superior seeing as the essence of wisdom. Training in tranquil abiding as the essence of concentration has 3 sections. 1, how to train in tranquil abiding as the essence of concentration. 2, relying upon the conditions for tranquil abiding. 3, the actual way to attain tranquil abiding. How to train in tranquil abiding as the essence of concentration. Regarding the nature of tranquil abiding, it is a quality common to Buddhists and non-Buddhists. In this context, if it is embraced by refuge, it merely becomes a Buddhist dharma. If it is embraced by renunciation, it is a dharma that bestows liberation. If it is embraced by bodhicitta, it becomes the dharma of a being of great scope. Therefore, you need the wisdom realizing selflessness to abandon ignorance. You need a stable concentration to perceive clearly the meaning of the absolute nature by the wisdom realizing selflessness. If you don't have tranquil abiding, there will be no way of developing any of the realizations that come from meditation. Not only that, but although you may generate bodhicitta in your mental continuum, you cannot progress beyond the middle section of the path of accumulation. Without tranquil abiding, you can only attain the coarse generation stage of secret tancha. It is not possible to attain the subtle generation stage or the completion stage. If you attain tranquil abiding, you will cover vast amounts of ground in an instant with tranquil abiding, compared to meditating for a year on the common path without tranquil abiding. However, these days there are many people who wish to become enlightened through tranquil abiding alone by focusing on the mind. Yet, if you don't have renunciation, bodhicitta, and so forth, it is impossible to attain enlightenment. Thus, With respect to the object of desire, there are teachings that reveal the true characteristic of things that are not recognized, such as the objects of abandonment, the abandonment of non-virtuous friends, the grounds, past, and results, and so forth. Therefore, at this point, there are 6 ways of training in tranquil abiding. Relying upon the conditions for tranquil abiding. For the attainment of tranquil abiding, it is very important that the place have the prerequisites for tranquil abiding from the beginning. Regarding accumulating the causes for that, they are 1, being in an isolated place, 2, having few desires, 3, relying upon contentment, 4, having few activities with few goals, 5, maintaining pure moral discipline with respect to our commitments, and 6, abandoning distracting activities and stopping coarse conceptions associated with craving objects of desire. Furthermore, the ornament of the Mahayana Sutra states, the intelligent practice in a place that has good facilities, a wholesome environment, good grounds, good companions, and the articles for comfortable yoga. As this states, there are 5 characteristics needed for a favorable, isolated place in which to engage in practice. 1. With respect to good facilities, it should be easy to find good sustenance, clothing, and so forth favorable to dharma. It is unacceptable if, although they are easy to acquire, they come from a cause for accumulating negative karma. 2. A wholesome environment means a place where wild beasts, adversaries, and so forth do not live. It should be a place where others who have broken their spiritual commitments or have defiled their spiritual commitments have not stayed, and where the great holy beings of your own tradition have stayed and gained experiences. This last point is extremely important. If the place is defiled with broken spiritual commitments, or the possessions utilized are defiled by broken spiritual commitments of possession, you will not develop any new good qualities in your mental continuum, and those you have already attained will also deteriorate slightly. 3. Good grounds refers to a place where you will not become ill due to inappropriate soil, water, and so forth. 4. Good companions refers to companions who have similar conduct and views. The place should also be very isolated, that is, free of activities of humans and free of noise, such as the clamor of water, dogs, and so on. The Bhagavan also stated, noises are the thorns of concentration. Therefore, while attaining tranquil abiding, it is extremely important that you only live in a place that is completely isolated. 5. With respect to a suitable place with the articles for comfortable yoga, according to the tradition of oral instructions, this is explained in our tradition as meaning that we should have removed our doubts through study and contemplation for remaining in the practice. If we haven't, at first we pretend we know how to practice and head off to an isolated place. Once we have left while we are engaging in practice, we realize we don't know what we are doing. And all we can do is send letters from our retreat house to our gurus, spiritual companions, and so on, and wait for a response. We must make sure we are not such a person. With respect to fear desires, this means abandoning the coarse conceptions associated with aspiring for objects of desire. If you don't, there is a great danger of getting sidetracked into numerous activities for multiple goals. Therefore, rely upon contentment with few desires and have few activities with goals. Maintaining pure moral discipline is very important. If we don't stop coarse external distraction through moral discipline, there is no way that we will accomplish concentration through stopping subtle internal distractions. With respect to abandoning distracting activities, this means not engaging in such things that cause us preoccupation, such as listening to sounds, such as music, pursuing medicine and astrology, and so forth. While we are attaining tranquil abiding with the exception of using cooking utensils for eating and drinking, taking the time to eat food, dispensing with our feces and urine, and taking a little time to sleep, if we don't devote ourselves continuously to meditation, we won't accomplish tranquil abiding. If we meditate in this way consistently with all the effective factors in place, it is said that we will attain stable, tranquil abiding in 6 months. The actual way to attain tranquil abiding. Thus, in dependence upon having assembled the conditions for tranquil abiding, you should sit upon a comfortable cushion in the 7-point posture of Vairochana, eliminate the stale winds through the 9-round breathing, and meditate. The object of observation. Bhava-viveka's Heart of Middle Way states, the wayward elephant of the mind is securely bound to the stable pillar of visualization by the rope of mindfulness and gradually controlled with the hook of knowledge. As this states, that place to fasten your mind should be a single object of observation, for which there are 4. 1. Objects of observation or scholars. 2. Pervasive objects. 3. Objects which serve as antidotes. And 4. Objects of observation for abandoning afflictive emotions. In general, if something that is observed is the observed object for accomplishing tranquil abiding, it is an established base that is existent. That is, it is a visualized basis. So non-Buddhists use a stone or a stick as their perceptual object of observation. The Bon and a few Nyingma visualize the letter A for their practice, and so on. These days, some people of other traditions use visual objects of observation for accomplishing tranquil abiding. However, whatever the characteristics of the observed object, meditation is not accomplished through an I consciousness. Therefore, because of not understanding this essential point, they are even stupider than the non-Buddhists. Although it is permissible to place your mind upon any object of observation for tranquil abiding, until you attain tranquil abiding, you should not change your object of observation. Instead, you should remain fixed on one object of observation. Atisha's lamp for the path states, you should place the mind upon any one suitable virtuous object of observation. Furthermore, this is analogous to when you are trying to set fire to a stick by rubbing. If you switch to another stick, the heat will dissipate and you won't get a flame. Just as you will get a fire if you continue rubbing the fire stick without interruption, in the same way, if while accomplishing tranquil abiding you practice for a prolonged period without interruption, you will definitely generate it. If you haven't already developed realization of the path in your mental continuum, it would be excellent if you were to meditate on the body of Buddha Shakyamuni as the focus of your attention while you are accomplishing tranquil abiding. If you do, then even if you die while attempting to attain tranquil abiding, you will be accumulating merit. It will be easy to attain realizations of the generation and completion stages and so forth of Tantra. You will recall the Buddha and so on. If you practice in this way, you should either visualize the body of Buddha the size of a pea at the level of your navel, or alternatively, once you dissolve the Buddha into the crown of your head, focus your attention upon yourself appearing clearly in the body of Buddha Shakyamuni. Also, if you wish to practice without observing any external form, you can practice by focusing internally on the mind. According to the teaching in the first Panchen Lama's text on Ganden Mahamudra, while meditating in the mind, you should rely upon three special features. 1, clarity. 2, awareness. 3, emptiness. Furthermore, it is unacceptable if you don't keep anything in mind and slip away from the clarity and awareness into unconsciousness and sleep, because if this occurs, your meditation has become a nihilistic view similar to the view of Hashang Mahayana. If you are going to meditate in dependence upon the mind, you must definitely rely upon the teachings on Mahamudra. As I already explained, you should meditate upon a single underlying support according to the Tantra system, in dependence upon whether on either the generation stage or a subtle drop of the completion stage. Thus, it is permissible to use whichever of those objects of observation you find is easiest to give rise to. Query: how do I meditate in dependence upon the body of Buddha Shakyamuni? Reply: once you have recited the Lamrim preliminary rituals at the end of making the supplication called planting the stake, light rays radiate from the heart of the Buddha on the crown of your head like a spider's web, on the tips of which are variegated lotuses with sun and moon mandala seats, upon each of which is a conqueror Shakyamuni with a body like refined gold, and so forth. According to the general presentation, each one sits with his legs in the Vajra posture and is the size of a pea. Having emanated them, they dissolve into a single Shakyamuni who comes to sit in the sky before you at the level of your navel. Once you focus your mind, meditate single-pointedly upon him. Furthermore, because clarity doesn't arise from the very beginning, if you only get an approximation of his head or hands and feet or a bit of golden color, you have found your object of observation. Although the ultimate essential instructions for attaining tranquil abiding are taught in texts such as the Shravaka levels, Asangas, Bodhisattva levels, Maitreyas, distinguishing the middle from the extremes, and so forth, these days, without knowing that these texts possess the instructions for accomplishing single-pointed concentration, people seek them out from somewhere else, which is like someone wishing for water who doesn't go to the ocean, but instead seeks water from a dried-up spring. Regarding the principal teachings set forth in those aforementioned texts, Maitreya distinguishing the middle from the extreme states, abandon the 5 faults through cultivating the 8 types of application. For that reason, in this instance, there are 2. 1, abandoning the 5 faults, and 2, relying upon the 8 applications as the antidotes to those. For the first, there are faults when engaging in single-pointed concentration. That very text, Maitreya is distinguishing the middle from the extreme states. Laziness, forgetting instructions, mental sinking, and excitement, non-application, and application are asserted to be the 5 faults. The first fault, laziness. Furthermore, engaging laziness is a fault when the yogi initially engages in concentration. With respect to laziness, in this instance, it is the heartfelt desire not to engage in concentration. From the 8 applications of abandonment, there are antidotes. There are 4 antidotes to laziness. 1, faith that perceives the good qualities of concentration. 2, aspiration that strives for concentration. 3, effort that seeks concentration. And 4, mental and physical pliancy that is the result of seeking concentration. Among these 4, the most important is pliancy. If they arise from anywhere, they come from effort. That effort comes from aspiration, and that aspiration comes from faith. Thus, the latter are developed in dependence upon the former. If we attain pliancy, it is like an assistant who incites a type of bliss that induces you into whatever type of virtuous work makes you capable of single-pointed concentration, allowing you to visualize whatever you desire. Jamgon Tsongkhapa stated in his Songs of Spiritual Experience, if set, the mind will not waver like a powerful mountain. When focused, it enters into all virtuous objects. Query, well then, since we don't have pliancy, what do we do? Reply, although we beginners don't have pliancy, it is important to develop faith in it. We should perceive the good qualities of concentration in developing it. As I explained earlier about tranquil abiding, generally speaking, by way of its essence, it doesn't belong to any of the 3 vehicles because even some of the non-Buddhists have tranquil abiding as well. Without tranquil abiding, you won't accomplish any of the mundane or supramundane good qualities that come from meditation, whereas if you have tranquil abiding, progression on the paths of all 3 vehicles is easy. The primary necessity of attaining tranquil abiding is expressed in Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattvas of Life when it states, through realizing that superior seeing endowed with tranquil abiding destroys the afflictive emotions, you should seek tranquil abiding from the outset. Thus, once you attain a stable tranquil abiding, you will develop realizations that come from meditation observing emptiness. With that, once you do directly realize emptiness, it will function to sever the root of samsara. Once you perceive the good quality of tranquil abiding, you will sequentially develop faith, aspiration, effort, and then pliancy. The second fault, forgetting the instructions when engaged in meditative concentration. Forgetting is not only forgetting the Dharma teachings of your Lama, it is losing the observed object of concentration. Furthermore, once you become distracted while abiding single-pointedly upon the body of Buddha Shakyamuni, this is the fault of losing the observed object. With respect to the antidote to this, it is the 5th antidote, mindfulness. Therefore, we need a continuous apprehension of the observed object, which is analogous to holding a cup of tea in our hands. With respect to mindfulness in the Compendium of Abhidharma, it is described as having 3 special qualities. 1, being acquainted with the visualization. 2, not forgetting the object of observation once you have continuously apprehended it. And 3, functioning to prevent distraction. With it, you develop an uninterrupted, continuous, and powerful mode of apprehension. The third fault, mental sinking and excitement. When you have placed your mind in meditative concentration, the third fault is mental sinking and excitement. Therefore, you need a 6th antidote, introspection, as is antidote, which not only interrupts mental sinking and excitement, but checks to see whether they are about to occur. Excitement is mental scattering to an object of attachment. For example, if you are attached to tea and meat, once you think of eating meat while you are drinking tea, your mind subsequently switches to that meat, which is a case of both scattering and excitement. With respect to excitement about an object of anger or virtue, although it is scattering, it is not excitement, because it is not distracted by an object of attachment. If it is scattering, it does not follow that it is also excitement. However, if it is excitement, it is not necessarily scattering. Query, well then, if it occurs when it is applied to concentration, why is it not said to be excitement? Reply, it is principally taught that excitement occurs primarily through the force of scattering to an object of attachment that happens continuously. There are 2 types of excitement, coarse and subtle. Once you stray from the observed object, this is coarse excitement. With respect to scattering that occurs without straying, this is subtle excitement. Therefore, it is easy to understand excitement. Mental sinking is difficult to recognize. The cause of mental sinking is mental dullness. With respect to mental dullness, this is similar to sleepiness, where the observed object becomes unclear and the body and mind become heavy. Furthermore, it can be either a non-virtuous or neutral mental obscuration. If it is a mental dullness, does not follow that it is mental sinking. If it is sinking, it also does not follow that it is mental dullness. Mental sinking must be either virtuous or neutral. With respect to mental sinking, it is as if darkness has settled over the mind so that it is without a factor of clarity or a factor of lucidity. For this, there are two aspects. One, although the mind remains on the observed object, it does not have a factor of clarity or a factor of lucidity, in which case it is coarse mental sinking. Or two, although it has a factor of clarity, a factor of lucidity, and a factor of stability, the factor of lucidity does not have intensity, in which case it is subtle mental sinking. This factor of clarity is not a factor of clarity in relation to the object. Rather, it is necessarily a factor of clarity in relation to the mind. Therefore, at present, if we beginners can't get clarity on merely an upright golden image similar to the body of the Buddha, this is our object of meditation. Until it is free of subtle mental sinking and the faults of concentration, there won't be any difference between whether you do or do not have a factor of clarity with intensity. Therefore, you need an extremely firm mode of apprehension. Once the mode of apprehension becomes slack, a slackness will occur in the mind, at which point you have arrived at subtle mental sinking. These days, when it comes to subtle mental sinking and unmistaken meditation, there are many meditators who make the mistake of meditating with subtle sinking. If we meditate with subtle mental sinking, it is an enormous fault. If you accumulate mental sinking, whatever degree to which you increase that accumulation is the extent to which it will be difficult to develop unmistaken concentration. As a result, your wisdom would become dull, and this functions as a cause for you to be reborn as an animal in your next life. Sapan stated, most fools who meditate on Mahamudra are creating the cause to become an animal. In fact, if although you have a factor of clarity and a factor of stability, your mind has become slack, it is subtle mental sinking. If you have a finely tuned mode of apprehension, there will be an intensity to the factor of clarity. The tradition of Tsongkhapa and his disciples is to delight in a mode of apprehension that is as firm as possible. With a firm mode of apprehension, you will elicit a factor of clarity that is free from the fault of mental sinking. However, the danger of mental excitement will increase. If your mode of apprehension is lax, it will be easy to develop a factor of stability. However, it will become subtle mental sinking. Therefore, you will not be aware of the fact that subtle mental sinking has set in. Because they knew that it was easy to develop a factor of stability with a lax mode of apprehension and depends upon this, some previous Tibetans said the best relaxation is the best meditation. And although they knew that they would develop a factor of stability with a relaxed mind, they didn't know that they would slip into subtle mental sinking. Still, they confirmed it with scriptural sources such as Sahara, who stated, the nature of mind is bound by over-conceptualization. Have no doubt that if you relax, you will be liberated. Although they cite this scripture is intended for someone who has reached the eighth mental abiding. Therefore, to apply it at this point in your training is a huge mistake. In short, if you employ a mode of apprehension that is as firm as possible without mental wandering, the lack of mental wandering will sever mental excitement. Firmness will sever mental sinking. Therefore, it is the extremely essential point that is the heart treasure of great meditators. For that reason, if you are applying a certain amount of firmness and you think that you are developing mental excitement, loosen it a little. When you think that this amount of looseness has become mental sinking, tighten it a little bit. This is an extremely skillful way to practice. Furthermore, as each factor of clarity arises, seek out a factor of stability once you are cautious about mental sinking. As each factor of stability arises, be cautious about mental sinking. Once you induce an intense factor of clarity, you should apply skill in sustaining it, as in the examples that the Bhagavan told Ananda about the lute and the bird catcher. Regarding faultless concentration, this has a factor of stability and a factor of clarity. Furthermore, the mind experiences both sinking through becoming too elevated and sinking from being too low. Therefore, once you recognize mental sinking and excitement through introspection, you instantly hold the object of observation through mindfulness. You should stand guard with introspection for the onset of either mental excitement or mental sinking. Use introspection from time to time. It doesn't need to be constant. Mindfulness is something that you always need. The first Panchen Lama's text on Gandhi Mahamudra states, keep watch from afar with undistracted mindfulness. Prepare introspection by knowing discursive thoughts. This occasion is exemplified by the way in which you hold a cup of tea in your hand. It states that you need to utilize a tight grip to separate laxity from all your meditations. The fourth fault, the fault of not applying the antidote when mental sinking and excitement occur. You must rely upon the intention to apply the application of antidotes as an antidote to that fault of not applying the antidotes. For example, it is like being in the midst of preparing for battle when you receive a tip and realize that an enemy is already approaching. Likewise, you need the seventh antidote application when you realize that mental sinking and excitement are approaching and you are not paying heed to them. Furthermore, with great wisdom, you will recognize mental sinking and excitement before they come. With middling wisdom, you will recognize them as soon as they arise, and those with the least wisdom will recognize them after they have arisen. If your mind is distracted away from the object of observation but doesn't lose it, this is subtle mental excitement. This is the fault of the mode of apprehension being too tight. Therefore, it should be loosened a little. If it still does not pass, it is middling excitement. Therefore, you should set aside your visualization. With respect to excitement, since it occurs when the mind is uplifted and taut, you should relax the mind. The third terms uplift, taut, and tight are synonymous, and lower, loosen, and deflate are synonymous. The teacher said to King Shuddhadana, once you are taught the method of relaxing the mind, only then will you realize emptiness. With respect to the antidote to mental excitement, you should deflate the mind by contemplating impermanence, the sufferings of the lower realms, and the sufferings of samsara, and once again engage in meditation. If even that does not dispel it, you have coarse mental excitement. Therefore, the instructions state that you should forcibly eliminate it by visualizing a black drop at the navel or the coming and going of your breath. For this latter method, when you exhale, you should think one breath is going outward. And as you inhale, think, I am inhaling. With this, think that was one count, that was two, and so forth. Don't count them on your rosary. The best practitioners can eliminate mental excitement with one count. Even a middling person can do it in either 5 or 7. If even that doesn't eliminate, you have reached a point of extremely coarse mental excitement. Therefore, you should set your session aside for a short while, rest, and then resume your session. With respect to eliminating mental sinking, if it occurs while you are concentrating, it is a subtle mental sinking. So once you tighten your mode of apprehension, continue meditating. If that doesn't dispel it, it is coming from the mind being either depressed or deflated. Therefore, you should apply methods to uplift the mind. Therefore, you should contemplate the leisures and endowments, the good qualities of the 3 jewels, bodhicitta, and so forth, and resume meditating. With respect to the forceful methods to use when even that doesn't dispel it, Madama Sangye stated, if they were sinking, eliminate it with pe. Visualize your mind in the aspect of a white letter A, and imagine that you shoot it out from the crown of your head by reciting pe, and as it goes higher and higher, it becomes increasingly bigger until it mixes with space. This is called mixing space and awareness. If even that doesn't dispel it, you should stop your session and go for a walk in a place that is filled with light, has an expansive view, and so forth. The glorious Shakyapas also state, if there is clarity, end your practice with clarity. If there is no clarity, end your practice without clarity, and it will remove the poison from your concentration. Thus, too, if your visualizing is coming along well, you should have the wish to prolong your meditation technique, but nevertheless, end it while it is going well and resume it again later. For example, you should depart from your meditation while it is still going well. Therefore, in the beginning, each session should be short. If you meditate by ending your session while there is some slight clarity to the visualization, eventually the length of your meditative state will naturally increase, at which point you should extend the duration slightly. Furthermore, if a disciple had extremely crude behavior, his teacher will postpone subduing him, and when the disciple becomes a little pacified through his own accord to remaining in the presence of his teacher, the teacher should then apply methods for training him. Jetson Kapa's great and middle-length treatises on the stages of the path to enlightenment also state, in the beginning, if your sessions are long, it will be easy to come under the influence of sinking and excitement. If you meditate on that, it will be difficult to repair the mind. Therefore, you should have many short sessions. If you stop your session while you still wish to meditate later, you will have the heartfelt wish to engage in meditation. If not, you will feel nauseous when you see your meditation cushion. This is an extremely important pith instruction. The fifth fault, the fault of applying the antidote when you are free from mental sinking and excitement. Thus, when we are dwelling single-pointedly upon the observed object, free from mental sinking and excitement due to skillful training, and we are supervising with introspection to determine whether or not mental sinking or excitement are developing, despite the fact that our factor of stability is not being harmed by sinking and excitement, we should rely upon the compositional factor of equanimity as the eighth antidote, non-application to that unnecessary application. This occurs when we have attained the eighth mental abiding. The phrase bound by overconceptualization should be applied at this point. Furthermore,
Geshe Gelek is here.
Please have a seat. Sanje Chada Soje Chonam Lo Chancho Padon Dane Chobson Rola Penja Sanje Ladala Memeda Mia Jin Omboda Jajila So Chuja Chola Chawa Jaman Sanje Sunda Kamdo Shijende Didawa Shie Tabe Chunye Jine Dirishi Namo Ala Yegadalo Dane Jingi Chipoda Dami Yegadalo Kamje Keto Dagi Chute and Kange to say yes on the Tawa Tanja Bombay, Tabation and the Mahamudra. Oh, yeah. Good evening, Hamula. Good evening, Tomasi. Good evening, Patti Pandiji. Good evening, Mary. Good evening, Nico. Good evening, Elise. Good evening, Julie. Good evening, Randall. Good evening, Govina. Good evening, Lee. Good evening, March. Good evening, Tom. Good evening, Karen. Good evening, David. Good evening, Yeshua. Good evening, Bodhisattva Patik. Good evening, Carmen. Good evening, Jill. Good evening, Michael. Anybody watching on YouTube, good evening. Welcome back to Wednesday night class. Yeah. What else, Tomasi?
There are no questions at this point, Geshe.
There's no questions?
No questions, Geshe.
So, Ramula, like, how many pages you read?
17 pages.
Correct. So now I have to look if there's no question. Where are you? Which the part?
We're on day 32, and we're talking about the faults of calm abiding, and we're on the fifth fault.
Oh, that's 32.
Yes.
Oh, anyway, so like come abiding, reach the come abiding. So there's instructions of the 5 folds, 8 antidotes explained by Maitreya Buddha. Ornament of mind or discourse. I think chapter number 4, so may not remember clearly, but chapter number 4, where the Maitreya Buddha explains the instructions how to complete 9 stages of calm body meditations. Actually, 9 stages, like also explained by Maitreya Buddha. Also, Arya Asanga also has a detailed explanation of the 9 stages of calm body meditations. In order to do that meditation very successfully, so what we need to know is like 5 folds and 8 antidotes is the critical part of the instructions. Lelo, the first one, I think, is laziness. Probably different meanings, when you talk, oh, you're lazy, not that kind of lazy. So the laziness has deeper meaning. Deeper meaning is not just not cleaning the dishes does not consider as a laziness. So there's different meaning. So first, the laziness. The second, forgetting. It says forgetting instructions. So then the third, even though there's 2 of them, it counts 1, like thinking mind and excitement mind. There's 2 of them, but it counts 1. Why is count 1? Because these are deal with 1 antidote. So the antidote wise, there's only 1. So that's why there's no 2 separate antidote to deal with that 2 folds. Therefore, even though there's 2 folds, there's 1 antidote. That's why they count 1, okay? For the sake of knowledge. Next time somebody asks you why there's 2, when you list 2. When you count 1. 2 of them 1. That's the reason. For the sake of knowledge, if somebody asks you in the future, you never know. So you say there's 1 antidote. That's why to count 1. There's no 2 separate antidote. So then, like not applying antidote, there's 4th fold. So then over applications, there's also false. These are the 5 fold clearly mentioned by Maitreya Buddha in Ornament of, I think, Mind of Discourse. So then, like the laziness is deal with the 4 antidotes. Again, the Maitreya Buddha explained, but it comes with the stanza, stanza. So it's a little bit, whenever there's stanza, it's a little bit harder to understand. When there's a loose sentence, so then it's easier, relatively easier to understand. Stanza, so then you have to dig deeper in order to understand actually what it really means, okay? So the first antidote, laziness, has 4 antidotes. So now we are counting the 8 antidotes. Laziness has 4 antidotes. First one, how you can overcome from laziness when you want to do meditation on shamatha, no samadhi, shamatha. When you want to do shamatha meditations, if you become lazy, how you can overcome There's 4 different ways you can overcome from the laziness. The first one is to see the benefit. Anything we do, not just come abiding meditation or shamatha meditations. First, you have to see the benefit. If you don't see the benefit, then probably you are not going to, then you will have no interest, because you don't see any benefit, and you have no interest. If you have no interest, then you probably not put any effort. If you don't put any effort, then there will be no result. These are the 4 antidotes for the laziness. First and foremost, you have to see the benefit. Why I do? What's the benefit? What is the benefit? What is the benefit if you manage to achieve shamatha? What is the benefit? Yeah, there's so many qualities, will follow if you achieve shamatha. So many qualities will follow if you achieve shamatha. All, different layers of clairvoyance. You can achieve all of them if you achieve shamatha. Not right away, but and there will be a lot of physical benefit, because you feel like your body is you feel that your body is so light, almost feel like piece of cotton. Physical benefit. Mental benefit, you will always have peace of mind. You always have peace of mind. No matter what, you always have peace of mind. Your mind will be, there will be like less thought, much more less thought. That means much more less stress, anxiety, fear is all part of thought. It's all part of thought. It's not part of physical body. It's all part of thought. Fear, anxiety, stress, all of that is part of thought. More thought we have, there's more risk that we may end up with more stress. Less thought, there'll be less stress, less anxiety. There's a lot of mental benefit, physical benefit. So physically you feel so light. It says when you shave your head, right after when you shave your head, if you put your hand, you feel something, you feel some sensations, some kind of sensations there. So that's kind of like external sign when you're about to achieve shamatha, you kind of feel there's like some kind of heaviness, I'm not sure how to explain the sensations. Probably you have probably no idea. You always have hair. So when you shave, after that you put your hand, what do you feel? That kind of sensations. So you generate. So that's like pre-sign you are achieving Kamabhajam pretty soon. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of benefit, okay, for achieving Kamabhajam. Always there's peace in your mind, always. So then, doing practice will be piece of cake. Doing practice like all day long become piece of cake. Oh, can you imagine that? Doing meditation all day long become piece of cake. So that's where you talk about piece of cake. Before that, there's no piece of cake. So these are the 4 antidotes for the laziness. How to overcome laziness? First and foremost, see the benefit. What's the benefit? If there's no benefit, there'll be no interest. There's no interest, there'll be no effort. If there's no effort, there'll be no result Result refers to physical pliancy, mental pliancy. Not right away, but like first, not right, but eventually, okay? These are the 4 antidotes for the laziness. So the best, if you remember by heart, then you don't need to look at the book each time. If you remember by heart, so that's the benefit. Wherever you go, you have it. You have here. You don't need a book. You already have here. Well, these are the 4 antidotes for the first false laziness. How to overcome laziness. Same thing for every. That apply anything that you do, not just come up by the meditation. Anything you do, even like spiritual practice, mundane things, anything you do, you need those 4 things. Otherwise, you become lazy. You become lazy.
Yes, well, there are.
Going upstairs, going upstairs, you need to bring your water cup, you need to bring your books, you need to bring your laptop, you need to bring your iPad, you need to bring your iPhone, all kinds of things that you try to carry all of them once, so then there's risk. So if you see the benefit of going up and down, there's benefits. So then you have interest to go up and down, so that you don't have to carry all of them one. More you go up and down, there's more benefit. So then it will produce the result. That's an example. So now, then the second, then forgetting instructions. That usually, even is worded like forgetting instructions, it doesn't really mean instructions, it refers to the object, losing an object, whatever the object might be, could be like, Tara statues, could be Tara image, could be Shakyamuni Buddha, could be Manjushri, could be Cheresik, could be piece of flower, could be anything, could be, photo of your own families, could be anything. So when you lose that object, means like object is like disappear from your concentrations. That's called forgetting instructions. That's what it is. Mibajaba majus. So not sticking with the object, remembering object. It's not like, somebody asks, what's your object? Then you can able to say, not that kind. Not forgetting object doesn't mean if somebody asks, if you ask, what's my object? Oh, Shakyamuni Buddha. Somebody asks, what's your object? Oh, not like that. Your mind has to be on the object. So that's what it means here. Not forgetting object means your concentration has to be on the object. That's what it means, okay? For the second knowledge. This is like very particular mindfulness. It's not just mindfulness, just it's not just recalling something. It's not like that. It's like very particular one. Object that's introduced by your teacher, you remember that. Then like on the object, second characteristic. The third one is that not wandering of the object, That's like the, what's called like chele, means like a function of that particular mindfulness is not wandering out of the object. That is the specific, what you call like chele means like function of that mindfulness. Function of that mindfulness is not going out of the object. So then there's antidote number 5. So number 6 is like introspection. Introspection is number 6. Introspections. when you're walking with your friend in the wood, and you are fully aware of the conversations and able to see your friend at the same time, you are aware of the path that you are walking on. So that's like introspections. Being on the object, but at the same time, being aware. Either your mind is like sinking or getting too excited, you're fully aware. Similarly, when you take a walk in the wood with your friend, you're fully aware of the conversations, what's happening, the facial expression, all of that. Then at the same time, you're aware of the very path that you're walking on. That's like introspections. Okay, so that is the antidote number 6. So antidote number 8 is if you are doing your meditation is doing very well, so you don't need to apply. Not application. Samula, what it says in English? Number 7. Antidote number 7.
The book, it says the fault of not applying the antidote.
Yeah, so they're not applying because no need. It's doing well, no need. So now antidote number is it's like some kind of like equanimity. What's the number 8? Antidote number 8. Are we number 8?
Yes, Geshe. That was
Like,
number 8.
huh?
Yes, Geshe.
What's it called? Some kind of equanimity.
Oh,
What is it called in English? Antidote number 8.
and non-application.
7.
Let's see, the 7th one is, let's see, 6 is introspection. I think it's, and application is a 7th antidote to this book.
No, the 7th antidote because then applications no they if there's like sinking mind and excitement mind rise, then you have to apply antidote. So that's number 1. Second, if there's 2 type of problem, this is the primary problem. Sinking mind and excitement mind, throughout the process, this cause a lot of problems. So if these twofold doesn't rise, so then just continue the meditations. That's number 8. What about number 8? What's called?
Let's see, the 8th one is called non-application.
Yeah, no need to apply because meditation doing well. So these are the 5, 4, and 8 antidote clearly explained by Maitreya Buddha. If you want to succeed, if you want your shamatha meditation to be successful, so then you need to remember that because that's what's going to happen during your meditations. Okay. Oh. So then, what else?
Yes, Geshe, there are 2 questions. One question is, do you need an initiation to practice Mahamudra meditation?
No, you don't need. You don't need initiation to practice Mahamudra meditations. No.
Okay, and the second question is, it sounds like the text is telling us that we need to go on a 6-month retreat at some point in our practice. Am I reading this correctly?
Where? Which part of the text? Does it say, does it mention like going to 6 months in Alaska? Does the text mention that you need to go to 6 months
It,
into the wilderness of Alaska?
I believe it says that if you do follow the instructions, you should be able to attain it in 6 months.
Yeah, so that's what it means. If you can obtain shamatha within 6 months, I don't think that you have to go anywhere. I don't think you have to, because you are paying the rent for your house. Why you go somewhere? Or you already paying the high rent, so just do that. My wife don't need to go, so. Yeah, but of course there's suitable place also Metya Buddha mentioned, like Lode counter to be Lebanyeta, Lode can Lebanyeta. So there, there's like Lebanyeta, Neza, Sasa, Majide. There's 5 because the suitable place that has 5 qualities that Metya Buddha mentions. But so but we do what we can do. So if you can, so then if you can't do, then not to worry. We do what we can do. Even like finishing first stage, second stage, third stage, that's pretty good, So yeah, we do what we can. I don't think that you need to go. So this 6 months is, if you do it properly, so then you could achieve shamatha within 6 months, not like you have to go to somewhere else 6 months. Okay?
No more questions at this point, Geshe.
Yeah, so the first one, then how to be present, how to be within, first stage is how to be within, be present. First, of course, need to find the object. So then according to Mahamudra teachings, so then Lama introduced conventional nature of awareness. Awareness is object. Conventional nature of awareness is object. Maybe like you'll achieve samatha quicker if you use conventional nature of awareness as an object, probably, like anything that's a visual do, there's a tendency to create distractions. But so that according to Mahamudra teachings, teachings that it's not different than Mahamudra. It's not different than Shunyata. Means Shunyata. Mahamudra. It's not. Then of course Mahamudra, when it's get into the Tantrayana practice, it get more complex, more complicated. So generally speaking, Mahamudra means Dzogchen, Mahamudra, Shunyata, same thing, different terms, same thing, but different method to lead, to guide the meditation, different method been used to guide the meditation, but means same thing. Yeah, you can say this is this is that. When you use the awareness as the object, you can say this is this is that. No, it is just it's awareness. It's just awareness. It doesn't have shape. It doesn't have colors. That's how the object of the conventional nature of mind is introduced by the Lama. Like space. Anything could appear there. Anything, if you let, all kind of things could appear like mirror. If you bring any object, it kind of reflects. if you don't bring anything, there's no reflections. But it has potential to reflect everything. Awareness is like mirror, when there's nothing, so there's no reflections. But it can, so many different kind of things can be reflected if you bring all kind of things. So mind is like this, no shape, no color, but has the potential to reflect everything. So now expectations, short-term expectation, long-term expectations. Short-term concern, long-term concern, oh, it's going to be like this, it's going to be that. So none of that, zero, zero. Nawa Pembi is like conventional nature awareness. No shape, no color, but it has potential to reflect everything. Like space is what it looks like. You can't say this is this is that. It's just like space. No short-term expectation, long-term expectation, no concern related to the past, no concern related to the future, just to be present, Nothing to analyze, nothing to investigate, nothing to analyze, nothing to analyze. You are mere, sir. Without distractions, just pause there. Just pause a little while, just pause. Little while could be like 30 seconds, could be a minute, could be an hour, as a beginner, so then probably shorter is better. Beginner, shorter is better. Multiple sessions, short, multiple sessions, better. There's a skillful way to do any types of meditation, not just shamatha meditations, short, then many. So then when you find the object, now you found the object, so now the second step is to how long you can stay with the object. Now like talking about staying with the object. Before, even not just recognizing objects. So now finally you manage to recognize the conventional nature of mind. So now the second, and like now the Jundu Jopa, the second step is how long you can stay. Nawa Pembi Ngani la Reto la so Nando Jeju Kaya Mayiba, Yomi Jungse Nyabashos. Nothing to investigate, nothing to analyze, just pause a little while. Oh. So that's how the shamatha meditation is done based on Mahamudra teachings. So then of course you can use image. You can use Shakyamuni Buddha's image, Lama Tsongkhapa image, your teacher, or maybe His Holiness Dalai Lama, Tara, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, you can use image. Okay. So then the clarities, brightness, clarity will follow. It won't happen right away. First, just to get, just to understand the object, Oh, okay. So then like, same like if you can breathe like in and out 21 times without distractions, 21 times, able to count in your mind, 21 times. Exhale, inhale, 1. Exhale, inhale, 2. Each time when you inhale, you count. If you can count that 21 times, And how about I hear sound? That's okay. Same, just to be aware, just to be aware. Long as you are not following the sound, then you are still on the object. You hear sound, but you are on the object, but you hear. Same thing like taking a walk with the friends. Taking a walk with the friends, that you are aware of the conversation, that you are aware of your surrounding, see the path like that. Long as you are not follow. It's not, doesn't mean that you are meditating on conventional nature of mind, does not mean you are going to seize the five senses. It won't happen right away. It might, the concentration gets very deep, so that it might happen, but not at the beginning, not at the beginning. You could hear sound, but you don't understand the meaning. That means your focus is on the object. You could hear, you could see someone walk by. You can't really tell who is walk by because you are so focused. Its object appears, but not, you don't like, you don't correspond with the object. You are corresponding with your shamatha object. You are not corresponding with the surrounding sound, the movement, like something like that, okay? So today, so that's like how the shamatha meditation been led in the Mahamudra teaching. So then, of course, you can use object, all kind of object. So then to beware the first, five faults. If any faults is there, so they need to learn how to overcome. Instructions is crystal clear. So we just need to put effort, that's all. So then, if you ever wonder, I can do, some human being, some other human beings did it. So why you think you can do? So, if you say, I don't have time, if you don't find time now, when you're going to find time, when? If you don't find time being a human now, when you're going to find time? Probably not. So this is the best opportunity you got if you really want to. Don't think, if you don't achieve shamatha, life is going to be miserable. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. If you have this, get this idea, that's wrong. That's driven by ignorance. Yeah, so there's a lot of benefit. I say physical benefit, mental benefit. If you are very much about achieving those benefits, so then there has to have some effort. Without effort, then it's hard to achieve. Okay. So today, what else? So these are the 5 faults and 8 antidotes. So then, please, if there are no questions, please read, continue. So then I will explain on the way. So if you read.
So we're on day 32, the 5th fault, the fault of applying the antidote when you are free from mental sinking and excitement.
Well, it is important that we must try. You cannot tell any experience if you never try, if you don't try. At least the first stage is how to be present. How to be present. So then just try. Try if you can do. Yeah, just try. Not just listen and listen and listen and read and need to put into practice. You need to try. Just sit down and try. Be within, be present, be within. Here in the West, you say be present. Question is how? You can't be just present. You have to have something to focus on. Otherwise, you can't just be present. First, finding an object. Finding an object. That's important, finding an object. if your goal is to achieve shamatha, changing object is not advisable because that becomes distractions within the object. You just choose one. Oh, I'm not worried about shamatha. I just want to learn how to be present. Then maybe, I'm not sure how, then you can tell by experience, changing object constantly, does that really help your concentrations or not? You can tell. That's why changing object is not advisable. Why? Because first of all, recognizing object takes some effort. So once you recognize object, so then changing another object, so it will take some time to recognize that object too. Okay. But you have to be 100% be awake. You can't just sit like that, slowly. That's not good. That's not meditation. That's like your shamatha meditation becoming sleeping meditations. Your shamatha meditation become napping meditations. It's not good. When your head starts to fall, so that need to wake up, need to be aware, need to be fully aware, fresh, fully aware. So then, minute, 60 seconds, just minute. Just try minute, 60 seconds. Can you quiet your mind? Can you quiet down? Oh, just 10 minutes. So, yeah, so yeah, you will make progress. You will make progress. Yeah, so if you try, so Shanti Deva said, Komna lawa kaya your minds. If you try to make familiar with something, you can become familiar. There's nothing out there that you cannot become familiar. If it's knowledge, you can learn. If it's knowledge, you can learn. If it's not knowledge, then nobody can learn. That's very true. If you put some effort, if you have interest to learn, if you see the benefit, first you have to see the benefit. So then if you have interest, then you put effort. So then you produce result. Based on the effort, you produce result. So for anything, it's not just shamatha meditation, anything. Doing this see the benefit faith, conviction, faith. Okay. Yeah, today I'm going to read continuously.
Geshe, there's a couple of questions.
Oh.
Is it okay? Don't
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay. Is it best to start by memorizing an image like a tanka or photo? Is a deity the ideal image for meditation?
Yeah, very good. So now see, shamatha is not like uncommon Buddhist, it's not Buddhist practice. Shamatha is like common practice. Even non-Buddhist practitioner also achieve shamatha. It's not like Buddhist practice. It is, that's been done. The shamatha is very famous in the Hinduism too. So there's a lot of people also do shamatha meditation. It's not Buddhist practice, but it can be Buddhist practice if you use the shamatha to utilize, to find the ultimate nature of mind. So then it's become Buddhist practice, very important Buddhist practice. So object, of course, first you have to look. If you're sitting down, height should be your third eye, height. You don't have to look up, you don't have to look down. Height should be your, when you sit down, the level of your forehead. Distance, when you do the full length prostrations, the distance is like the length of your body. But that not too far, not too close, that distance. These are all mentioned in the teachings, teachings. Size of the image, not too big, not too small, not too big, decent size, not too huge, because then may create distractions. If it's too small, it may create the thinking mind, distant side. Yeah, first, of course, you have to look. So in the beginning, you see the whole body, whole image. So your job is now to make sure that the mind doesn't get out of that object. So now you're just seeing hand. Just hold on that, hold on. Then slowly expand. So in the beginning, you are seeing the whole image. Now you are kind of like seeing only just partial image, like head or ear or nose. And hold on there. And if you can slowly go back to the whole image, if you can slowly go, if you can slowly expand, So any part of the body, if you are seeing, just hold on there. So make sure it doesn't get out of that. When you get out, either you are excited, your mind is like wandering, or you are kind of physically, mentally feeling kind of sluggish. So then don't push. That's not skillful way to do. Don't push. You're falling asleep. Get up, put some water, breathe some fresh air. Need to drink coffee, just drink coffee. So then come back, do it again. It's not just this the end of the world. You can do it again. Don't push. If you push, so then it gets worse and worse. Then it's not good. That's not skillful. It's not skillful. It's not skillful. You can't expect, minute you try. I cannot sit even 5 minutes. That's a very common problem. That's a very common problem. It's not just you, People get better. It's not right away. So then otherwise, everybody, the minute they would hear the word shamatha, they already achieve shamatha. That's not the case. Slowly. One step at a time, slowly. So then, of course, we need to look at the image very carefully. So then, we are not trying to see the object from our eyes. We are trying to see the object from our awareness, from our mind. If you don't see again, then you just look again and say, look close. And look, then slowly, this mental image become clear. For some people, it's easier, maybe due to previous karma, and some people it's very hard, even second. But you can't give up. If you give up, it will never happen automatically. So you need to try, So you can't do for somebody else meditations. Or you say, I'm going to do shamatha meditation. Maybe you are going to achieve shamatha by my meditation. That probably never happened before. So probably what happened now. So yeah, then first look at the image. So then I put mental image. Yeah. It's not good. Don't expect it to be real. It's not going to happen real. It's nothing. It's all object, all of this happening in imaginations. Never going to be real. When it's going to be real, unless you have managed to send the energy into the central channels, so then it's going to be real. Till then, Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantra is all happening in imaginations. It's not happening in realities. Okay? So then, if you just glimpse of the image, be grateful and raise your hope. If you can see the glimpse of object, even like 2 seconds, there's a sign. That is the sign. You can see 3 seconds, you can see 4 seconds, you can see 5 seconds. There's a sign. Just that, there's a sign. No? Don't expect, it has to be perfect. No good. Obstacles, no good. So, as even just glimpse, be happy. Even just glimpse. That means you can do. That means you can do. It's not like you cannot do. You prove yourself you can do. Like that, okay? Image, object, So then if you are using the conventional nature of mind, as I suggest, according to Mahamudra teachings, composed by Penchen Lobsa Chuchen, fourth Penchen Lama.
Geshe?
Ah,
I have a question.
yes.
It's done.
Oh, Dr. Brown,
Yeah, so a question.
I'm not eating any sweet, by the way.
Oh, good. And getting plenty of exercise, I'm sure, too. And getting plenty of exercise, too, I'm sure, right? Lots of exercise.
Yeah, a lot of exercise in the house around.
Oh, good. Well, my question about focusing on the Buddha, an image of the Buddha, like at the level of the forehead and a body length in front. Should we be, I mean, you know, there's some people, I mean, I've heard of people, I mean, there's a tendency to just focus on a picture, like a statue, like it's a static thing, it's dead, but it's just an image. And then I've also heard, but I'm not sure about this, whether you should think of that image as actually a living presence, like it's actually the real Buddha who's alive, just really small, and focus on that. Like it's more than just a static image,
Exactly.
a living presence. So what should we do?
Yeah, real, not just stack picture, real as possible.
So think of it as like the real Buddha in front of us, the
Exactly.
bodies like they have.
Yeah, not just like piece of paper.
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah. You've been around Buddhism a long time. You know what you're talking about.
No, I'd heard it, but I wasn't sure about this. So that's clear. Good.
I think that you show something. You show something that being around Buddhism a long time. Dr. Brown, you're absolutely right. It's a real. You have to be. Yeah, you have to think it's real. It's not just a piece of paper or photo. It has to be real in your mind. It's great. It's real. Okay. Yeah, very good, Dr. Brown.
Geshe, there's another question.
Mhm.
In early meditations, we use the breath as the object, then move to the mind.
No, you can use your breath. You can just use breath. People do achieve shamatha just using breath, counting breath. Exhale, inhale, counting breath. So, but need to count in mind, not in the hand, not use any kind of gadget to count. Just count here. Exhale, inhale, then 1. Exhale, inhale, that's 2. So then eventually, it's not like we are learning how to breathe. No, we breathe 21,000 times a day. 21,000 times a day we breathe. It's not like we don't have to breathe. It's not like we're learning to breathe. So that breathing has to be very normal. At the beginning, put some effort just to recognize that you exhale, inhale, and eventually it has to be very normal. People do achieve using breathing meditation as a for Kamabhati. People do achieve meditation, using breathing meditation. You don't have to use image. You can just use breathing meditation. And is that the questions?
Yes, Geshe, I think that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why I said in the beginning of the class, I said, if you can breathe in and out 21 times without distractions, that kind of indicate that you already achieved the first stages. Be present. You already accomplished that. That's what I'm saying. Then, anything else, Dr. Brown? Besides my diabetes?
No, I think so.
Yeah. So that all my friends here, so that at least try, Don't just say be present, at least try if you can, if you can minimize your thought, focusing on something. It is very possible, not just somebody saying, it's very possible to minimize amount of thought that's going on. You can minimize them by focusing on something, sometimes you see in the textbook, oh, don't think anything. Doesn't mean don't think anything. It means don't think anything else beside object. That's how you need to explain. How you can think nothing. It's impossible. But you can just think just one thing. That's very possible. Instead of thinking 100 things, it's very possible you can just think one thing. Through our 60 minutes, you can just only think one. That is very possible. Think nothing, that's impossible. When you see why people say that, yeah, I don't blame them, because there's a term in teachings, it means like beside the object. It doesn't mean think nothing, that's impossible. So just try and see if you can minimize amount of thought that, so you can focus, So then you get better and better, slow. So then, along the way, just get better. You kind of enjoy. So then, very good. Kind of enjoy, meditating on one object. You can enjoy that. So then, that kind of speed the process. Because not just sitting there feel like torture. Somebody's torturing you. Don't feel like so you can't enjoy, doing the meditation. Not like you torturing yourself. It's very possible. Okay. So just start. Either doing breathing meditations or just looking at just test. Just use one object. Just test. Can you really focus? And people may say, I can't focus. That's not really true. It's not really true. Why is not true? Because every primary mind comes with these 5 omnipresent mental factors. One of them is samadhi. It's already there. It's not fully developed. It's already there. It's not like you have to go look for someone else. It's already there. It's a part of the mind. So when we watch movies, so can you focus? Do we focus? Yeah, we can probably look at that hours, no problem. So that's called attention. So it's part of the mind. Attention is already there. You don't need to look for attention. It's part of the mind. Samadhi is part of the mind. You can focus if you choose to focus. So then you can focus because all the 5 omnipresent mental factors. That's what it's called. 5 omnipresent mental factors. One of them is samadhi. It's already there. You just need to utilize. Just need to use. Not being used long enough on one object. It's been used all over the place. It's been used here, but it's not long enough. You've been used fixing something. Yeah, it does require attention. It's not long enough. So now we are trying to use that in one single object. Not like fix one object, then go some, not like one object. So then see how much progress you can make. So then you will probably see the benefit. So then maybe you start enjoying doing it. So then, very good. So then you can do anywhere. Okay. What else? So now, how many more page to go, Amala?
61 more pages, Geshe.
So reading is going quite quite what to call the reading is in the pace, in the good pace. Reading is good in the good pace. So maybe two more class probably, but then we're done. So please, all my friends, first learn. There's a number of things to learn. 5 folds, 8 antidote. What are that means to learn? Make sure that each time when you're about to meet, need to read a book, not like that. So make sure that you don't need. It's already here. At least that can be also when you are doing it. That can be like review meditation. You are reviewing the instructions. That's going to be meditation. That's going to be review meditation. You can just sit 5 4. You can just repeat, review. Laziness, you can review. So 8 antidote, you can review. You can do this couple of days. Then it's already here. That's how the memory has been done. Memorization has been done. You can just review. First do review meditation. So then it's already here. So now review meditation of shamatha instruction is done. It's no longer needed. It's already here. So now finding an object. So then now you know exactly what's happening. Before you may not know what's happening. Now you know. You may think, oh, this is meditation. It is not. It turns out it's not meditation because you are deep into thinking mind. You think meditation is not meditation. You are deep in the thinking mind. So then, slowly when you do the meditation, that precious jewel, how is it? Drew. What's it called?
Drool.
Yes.
Drool, the precious jewel, or maybe like snore, like. So then that happens, not that. So need to learn. There's not just 5 4 and 8 antidote. There are a number of things to learn. First, how much effort I need to put. So these are there's a number of things that you need to learn. Okay, so then learn all of that. So now you feel, oh, if I choose to meditate on shamatha, how you feel? You feel like I have all the tools now. Before, you don't know. Now you feel like, if I choose to meditate, I have all the tools I need. Now you felt that. So then eventually you think, oh, I'm now using all the tools. That means you are in the meditation. First, you need to remember. Okay. So need to remember. So I think
Excuse me, Geshe.
Oh,
Geshe, we're over time.
over time?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience with my broken English. So last 20 plus years. So my English is not getting better, it's getting older and older. Yeah, thank you very much. And you all have a wonderful night. So see you next week, okay? So Alhamdulillah, will do dedication now.
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, we too dedicate all these merits in the best way that we may follow their perfect example. We dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone to the 3 times, so we might perform good works. We dedicate whatever virtues we have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect pure Losangdrapa to shine forever. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all-powerful Chenrezig, Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. The one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one with great patience, who received the name Awatare, the one with great precision, who spared the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on Bliss and Void, Lama Ornament of the Yellow Hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. You uphold the subduer's more way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Longinus' victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, savior of myself and others, disciples, please, please live long. Om tare tu re so ha. 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 Om tare tu re so ha.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Dumasi. All of you, thank you and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Lamala. Thank you, Domasis.
Thank you.